doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health-friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO,
manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Burns will get to it. Kept in by Carolina. Spinning chance. They score! Andrei Svechnikov. No hesitation. And Carolina, 52 seconds into this one, has a 1-0 lead. Now Aho across the ring for Jarvis. Looking for a tip. They'll score! And Andrei Svechnikov has gone to beast mode. His second goal of the game. And Carolina is up 3-0. A power play goal.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. Oh, man, what a day. It's gorgeous outside here in the capital city of North Carolina. Thank you for making us part of your, what's today? Tuesday. It's actually just Game 5 day. It's really, at this point, that's all I'm living. I'm living just, what game day is it? It's Game 5 day? Yes, that's what we're doing. Canes, Devils tonight. I want this to be the last game of this series.
Me too.
I did think that we would be here a long time. I thought we would be in Game 6 or Game 7. But I don't want to see Game 6 or Game 7. I want to see this done. I want to see a few days off. Washington will also have a few days off as I expect them to end their series with Montreal. Of course, that game is not tonight. The game is tomorrow. Did I have this right? Yeah, the game is tomorrow. Right? Montreal and Washington will have another day before they resume their series. The 4 games in the NHL are the one we will be focusing on. Ottawa, Toronto, Minnesota, Vegas, and Edmonton and the LA Kings, right? Do I have that right?
I believe so.
I honestly, at this stage, I'm not 100% sure of anything. Let me see. I'm pulling up the schedule right now. I just came back from, by the way, the Canes morning skate, and it should be I'm looking forward to tonight, by the way. I think tonight will be a feisty game. And I anticipate Carolina getting off to a good start. I don't know about the scoreboard, but in terms of the way they play, there will be no easing into this game tonight. Because I don't think you can afford to weather the storm. Yes, I had the three other games correct. You just never know. The schedules are all over the place. We do know this. Frederick Anderson won't play tonight. He is, as Rod Brindamore said quite testily, Freddie not playing, day to day. That's all I'm saying. End of discussion. So my conversation with Rod for the pregame show today, we didn't even talk about Freddie. We didn't talk about Freddie. We didn't talk about the incident. I did, however, get him to admit that the Jacob Slavin goal was elite.
Oh, that's good.
Do you remember the post-game show?
Yeah, and it was very nonchalant.
It was just like, that's a bad goal. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no!
It was amazing.
So as we were winding down our conversation, I said, I'm going to give you another opportunity to reassess the Jacob Slavin goal, starting with the play. I said, which was a highlight in and of itself. He goes, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I know. I didn't want everybody to think that's what he does, because then they'll be looking for it.
Yeah, because nobody noticed him in the Four Nations tournament.
Well, no, but they didn't notice him offensively. The defensive part, everybody knows that.
Yeah, he's amazing, but he did both in one play.
It was simply one of the best plays.
Defense and offense.
Oh, my gosh, one of the best plays of the entire year. So we talked about that. We talked about Svechnikov. There was a slight tweak to the lines, although it's really the way Carolina ended the game on Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Seth Jarvis is back with my two dads, which that's what he refers it to it as. Svechnikov, Aho, and Blake will be Carolina's top line, and William Carrier has joined Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Taylor Hall on, you could call it the second line. I don't care what you call it. It was probably the Hurricanes' fourth most effective line in the Game 4 win. That doesn't mean it was bad. The most effective line in the Game 4 win was Jankowski, Stankoven, and Robinson. And Rod talked about that as well in our conversation. Anyway, so the 7:30 game, by the way, tonight. If you are listening locally in Raleigh, the pregame show will start at 6:30, an hour build-up to what we hope will be the final game of this
We have no
series.
consistency with scheduling. We have 7 o'clock games, and we have 6
Right.
o'clock games. We have 8 o'clock games, 7:30 tonight. So.
Such is television.
I'm just glad that we don't have to worry about going over there in rush hour traffic, because I felt that around the Wade Avenue area last home game when it was started at 6. I'm like, why are we also hitting rush hour?
Right. Well, television does everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Television does everything. All right, now, and because of television doing everything, when we start, we're not necessarily going to start with hockey. I'm going to throw some basketball things in first. So, let's start.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
All right.
Let's get it started.
So the deadline to declare for the NBA draft happened. I wasn't really paying attention to it. We knew that Duke was going to lose a bunch of players to the NBA draft. Drake Powell went to the NBA draft from Carolina, and he is doing so with the full intent of staying in it regardless of what he hears. His decision. If I were Drake Powell, I would come back for another year. I don't believe he is going to be a high enough first-round pick, but maybe he feels like this is his shot at being a first-round pick. Everybody, to borrow from Mike Krzyzewski, and I apologize for doing that when I'm talking about a UNC player, everybody runs their own race. But Duke has 6 players on that list of early entrants. Proctor, Flagg, Knipple, Malawach. The transfer through the portal from Oregon State, Coward. He's on the list. He's already declared for the draft, but he's already acting like a Duke player. I believe he is simply in a fact-finding mission. And as a little bit of a surprise, Isaiah Evans is on that list. So, for people who are going, oh no! I don't know what Isaiah Evans is going to do. Isaiah Evans might hear from an NBA team that we love you so much that if you are there when we pick at number 14, we are going to select you. I'm completely pulling a number out of the air. I didn't even mention a team. So you just never know what's going to happen. But if you're Isaiah Evans or any player, knowing that you can return to school by a certain date, there's no harm in doing it. None. In fact, every player entering their final year of eligibility, everyone should declare for the draft. I have argued for years that they shouldn't even make you declare. They should just, if you get drafted, you get drafted. They really shouldn't even make you declare for the draft. Just, obviously these discussions will be had player, coach. I'm sure John Shire didn't wake up today going, holy crap, Isaiah Evans declared for the draft. I'm sure they've had this discussion. My guess is that Evans will return, just like Coward will show up at Duke next year. He's talking like a Duke player. I saw the a little video that I guess a Duke podcast put out, or whatever. No, he was on Jeff Goodman, Field of 68. And he is talking in the present about why he wants to play at Duke because of the lineup. And he talked about the individual players, including Isaiah Evans. So my guess is there's nothing wrong here. Don't get alarmed. And if Isaiah Evans is going to be a middle of the first round pick, which to me is the only reason why he should go, then there you go. All right. More power to you. Next man up. That's the way you've always got to be. And just because you're Duke doesn't mean you get to have 11 future NBA players on your team every year. If you're going one short, then you're going one short or two. Such is life in the world of college athletics these days. All right, now to the television aspect I teased, and we will get to Canes Game 1 in a minute. And Will Brinson joins us at the bottom of the hour to talk about the NFL Draft. We got more stuff to unpack about Shedeur Sanders, something that I said yesterday, actually that Mike Felder said on Friday, I want to kind of expand upon. So there was a story yesterday about the Atlantic Coast Conference reducing the college basketball schedule from 20 games to 18 games. It's not really a new story. They have kicked this around before. With the idea that it would allow schools to schedule outside of the league better, a couple more games in non-conference, which should theoretically make you more attractive to the NCAA tournament committee. And I think, first of all, we're looking at these things always the wrong way. Your goal should not be to schedule your way to a more attractive, we'll call it resume, team sheet for the committee. It should not be. The schedule should be designed to make you a better team. Give yourself the best chance to have the best team by the end of the season. And I believe, if you're looking at it from a league's perspective, I believe fewer league games is better. If we're just doing the math here, I could be wrong. But in a conference game, there's a winner and a loser. So for every win you get in the league, you're also taking a loss. Whereas if you play games outside of the league, you have a chance to win twice. Yes, you have a chance to lose twice too, which in and of itself is a problem for the Atlantic Coast Conference in basketball these days. Because last year, they lost a ton of high-profile non-conference games. Too many. And guess what? It's because you weren't good enough. Is the plan to fool the committee? Is that the plan? It shouldn't be the plan. It shouldn't be the plan to trick the committee. The plan should be to get better. Now you have to schedule creatively and smartly to do so. And now let me get to the TV element here. If you want to do this right, and I have no faith that the ACC is going to do it right, we should get over this notion that every team must play every team in the league at least once in a basketball schedule. Because what it does, even if you trim to 18, we have 18 teams in the league. That would say, all right, okay, Duke and Carolina can play twice, but then Duke and Carolina play everybody else once. Well, that's silly. Carolina and State should play twice. Frankly, Carolina and Wake should play twice. And State and Wake should play twice. And Duke should play all three teams twice. So, make your schedules. Let's eliminate the notion of fairness, because fairness is immaterial in this. We don't have fairness in football schedules. We got 18 teams in the league. We don't play a 17-game conference schedule because, we got to play everybody in the league. No, it's stupid. We don't do it in baseball. You miss series. We play 50-some-odd games. You certainly could play everybody in baseball, but we don't. So why should we have to in basketball? Because we've done that in the past? The fact that Duke and Miami played twice last year was criminal. It was a waste of time. Your schedules should be made with really just 3 things in mind. We'll start with the practical. Your schedule should be made to create the best chance of each team maximizing their season. So if you're not that good, you shouldn't go out and play a whole bunch of great teams. North Carolina missed the NCAA tournament last year because they ended up playing 7 games against the 1 line. Actually, I guess 1 and 2. Why? That team was never going to be good enough to play that level of competition. But they did. Of course, a bunch of those games were against Duke. They were never going to beat Duke. That's the problem. Doesn't mean they can't schedule well. You just don't have to schedule all the way up top. Some of that is made for them, right? Maui ended up being difficult. They had the big, the ACC, SEC challenge against, was it Alabama? That was their challenge game. They played Auburn and Michigan State. They played Florida. Maybe Florida surprised some people. But anyway, it was too hard a schedule as it turned out. But you want to schedule smartly in the non-conference, but also let's schedule smarter in conference play. So a practical schedule designed for each school to maximize their season. You have to play good teams outside the league. Otherwise, we're going to look at your schedule at the end of the year. It's not football where it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter in football. It never has and it never will. We have to eliminate that notion. But in basketball, where it does matter who you play outside the league, we have to schedule teams that won't drag us down in the non-conference. So if I were Jim Phillips, because if I were commissioner, I would be controlling the basketball schedules with a team of people who can help me with this data. And I would say, if you are scheduling a team that is routinely ranked outside of the top 200, get it off your schedule today. I don't want to see any teams on my basketball schedule that are routinely outside of the top 200. Apologies to Miami. Conference opponent. Little joke. So get rid of the bad. Let's schedule teams outside of the league, even the ones that are automatic games, the bye games, the schools you bring in to open your season, whatever. Make sure that those are in the, routinely in the 125 to 200 range, in there, so they're not dragging your power ranking down. And by association, dragging everybody else's power ranking down. And then, within your league schedule for television, schedule for your fans, schedule for interest. We don't need Duke and Florida State to play. Unless it happens that we think Florida State's going to be really good. In which case, sure, have them play. We don't need Duke and Miami to play. Unless, of course, we think Miami's going to be good. But the games that we need to see, the high-profile basketball programs, the Syracuses, the Louisvilles. Now Clemson's good, but if Clemson is just, get them out of here. Let Georgia Tech and Clemson, let Miami and Clemson, let Florida State, let those schools play. But your high-profile schools, don't burden them with less interesting matchups. Don't burden your fans with less interesting matchups. Let's intentionally game the schedules for television. All right, rant over. We are going to talk about that later on. I've said this many times. I would be in favor of a system of promotion and relegation in basketball. We have 18 teams in the league, top 9, bottom 9. You have 4 teams go up and down each year. I don't care what you do. We can certainly tweak this system, as needed. Maybe only a couple of teams drop down and a couple of teams elevate. I'd be in favor of that. Something a little different, something to generate interest. All right. Now to the game tonight. The Hurricanes need to treat this legitimately like a Game 7. Not that it's a Game 7, because it isn't. It's just Game 5. But, and when you say it, when you ask these, the players or the head coach, said, well, we should treat every game like a Game 7. It's a good point. Rod did say today that they might have used Pyotr Kochetkov anyway, but they have no choice tonight. Frederick Anderson is not ready to go, and he said he is day-to-day. Kochetkov will get the start, which, as I think I said on the most recent edition of the Canes Corner podcast, live after every game on YouTube, just search Canes Corner, and you'll find it. We usually go about 45 minutes after the final horn, get the post-game show after the way. We have to do, satisfy all the sponsors in the post-game show, and then once we're satisfying all the sponsors, we satisfy other sponsors in the podcast. But I said it was sort of, hate to see Freddie hurt, blessing in disguise. We all know this. The head coach knows it. Pyotr Kochetkov is going to play a role if Carolina goes far. Has to. And the longer you wait to get him in, the more of a problem it is. And as it turns out, Kochetkov gets in the game after giving up the howler. Terrible goal. He played pretty well after that. Now, Carolina didn't allow a ton, but Kochetkov handled his business well, calmly. That's what we're going to need to see from Kochetkov today.
I hope so. Plus maybe a poke check or two to Timo.
Missing the puck and maybe just getting Timo in the Myers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be fine. I'd be here for,
I'm okay
for that. Look, Rod was asked about, were you happy with the composure your team showed after the Meyer hit? And yes, he was, because the team just went about the business of winning the game, which is the most important thing. I get it. Everybody wants frontier justice. I'm not against it as long as it doesn't take you out of your game. But what couldn't happen, especially after it became 3-2, is to take any unnecessary penalties, risks that put the Devils, who have a very good power play, I think it was third best in the league over the course of the season, put them on the ice and give them a chance to tie the game. You don't want that kind of jeopardy. So the time to respond physically was in the moment. And if I was going to be disappointed by anybody, it would probably be Andre, because he was the defender there. I used defender, air quotes, sorry. He was the player there as Meyer knew what he was doing, intentionally throwing his shoulder into the chest of Anderson, which ultimately led to the injury.
Yeah.
I said this yesterday. We were talking about it before the skate today. It was an easy 2-minute minor. And I know that people, and we talked to John Forslund yesterday, he and I will disagree on this. I thought it was a 2-minute minor. Easy call. Doesn't have to be a lot of contact for the contact to be intentional and worthy of a 2-minute minor. You got to protect goaltenders. You must do that. So the fact that Meyer leaned in, he was not pushed in. His momentum had stopped, and then he leaned in. Go watch the video 1,000 times in a row. That's what happened. So it should have been a 2-minute minor, but as they tried to mete out that justice, they did the right thing. Call a 5-minute major because there's an injury. And then, when you go review it, the choices are 5-minute major or nothing. And they chose nothing, which, of those two options, that's the right choice. Move on. But Svechnikov could have responded physically in the moment, right there. That would be the part that was lacking.
Well, it's a new game today, and maybe Pyotr could pull a Stolar's move and just clobber Timo if he gets in the crease tonight. Because that's allowed, apparently, what he did to Greg or whoever that was.
Ridley
for the Canadians.
Gregg?
Yeah.
Look, Aaron Ekblad got away with a punch to Brandon Hagel yesterday.
Yeah.
Official staring at it.
Right.
No call.
Nothing.
At all. Who was
John
it?
Cooper's real happy about that.
Somebody for Dallas cross-checked Nathan McKinnon in the back.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? How are we not calling obvious penalties? But as they will tell you,
Playoff hockey.
it's the playoffs. Okay. So play through the crap, but get to your game. Make the Devils feel the game early, whether that's through physicality, which Carolina has not been non-physical in this series, but really through puck pressure. The Burns goal that didn't put the game away but gave Carolina the 2-goal lead, that Burns goal was created because Jacob Markstrom felt the pressure, he had to get rid of the puck, and he was fortunate that he didn't pass it right to Jordan Martinook. It went over his stick somehow. I don't know how he didn't touch it, because it looked like he did. But it went through Martinook, through one of his own defensemen, or players, I guess it was a forward, right to Burns, who just put it on net, and Martinook ended up at least forcing the puck through. Again, Jordan Martinook deserves something for the goal. He gets nothing other than a couple of huzzas from his teammates. Anyway, that's the way to handle this. And whenever Dougie Hamilton is on the ice, make him work. I don't think I mentioned this. Hamilton was a -3 in the game on Sunday.
Oh, so unlike him.
Yeah,
not
very
really.
much. All right. When we come back, Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. A little draft redo. We'll talk Shedeur Sanders and more next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Canes are back in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's Game 5.
They score! Andrei Svechnikov! And Carolina, 52 seconds into this one, has a 1-0 lead.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck Drop at 7:30.
The score! And Andrei Svechnikov has gone to beast mode. His second goal of the game.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Welcome home from Baker Home Exteriors. Your home is not just where you live, it's where life happens. We're proud to continue Baker Roofing's century-long legacy of excellence, bringing that same dedication to your home. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, or more, we transform houses into the homes you've always dreamed of. Your home deserves nothing less. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com and let's build something beautiful together. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning?
RV wins!
Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast?
RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's non-stop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Next hour, Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News. He is a Steelers fan, so I will ask him his opinion of what the Steelers did and the gamble that they are taking with the draft. Will Howard was the only quarterback they took. And while he certainly looks like, I don't know, maybe down the road might be an NFL quarterback, they are basically saying we are either Aaron Rodgers, a trade for Kirk Cousins, or we're going to kind of stink offensively. No offense. I understand that at least Brooke Pryor tells us that the Steelers are comfortable with Mason Rudolph as the starter. Sure you are. Like, interpersonally, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Not so much on the field.
As a guy in a locker room that everybody's, cool hanging out with. But,
brings a good dish to a potluck.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my gosh. He doesn't put raisins in the coleslaw.
Please don't.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I want to get to Shedeur Sanders because we talked about this with Mike Felder on Friday. And the more you get away from the draft, because there isn't a single evaluator of film, right? Not a single evaluator of film who believed that Shedeur Sanders was bad. They all said the same thing. He might not be super great. He might not have one unbelievable quality like speed or arm strength. What he is, though, is a very accurate thrower. That is, by the way, a superpower for quarterbacks. And the people who evaluate the film all thought, late first into the second. He went fifth. He wasn't even the first quarterback the Browns took. So, what Mike Felder told us on Friday, which I believe to be true, I do believe that there is an element of that, of what he said that matters, and that the NFL doesn't like it when you don't need them. And he acted during the course of the interview process, he acted as though he was a sure thing, and the NFL didn't look at him as a sure thing. And that is a major miscalculation, which cost him dearly. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. What do you make of the Shedeur Sanders to the Browns in round 5?
I think there's a lot to unpack. I think anybody who is on the conspiracy theory train, and I don't think you're there, but if you are, my apologies. Okay, good. I was going to say my apologies in advance because you're an idiot if you're on the conspiracy theory train. This is not some massive conspiracy to take down Shedeur Sanders. I think without being in the room but with connecting the dots and hearing enough from how he acted in these interviews and whatnot, I think essentially Shedeur Sanders, you hit on it. He went in and handled this process like he was his father. Well, his father was a sure thing. His father was not falling far in the draft. His father's probably the greatest cornerback of all time. It's like 75% of the world is covered by water and the other 25% is covered by Deion. I mean, that's the old saying. I mean, it's like Deion was guaranteed to be a high pick. He was a sure thing. Shedeur was not. And when you factor that in with the sort of the economics of the quarterback position in particular this year, you had a few teams, whether it was the Raiders, the Giants, the Browns, the Steelers. There weren't that many teams who needed to get a young quarterback early in the draft. There were a lot of teams that certainly were not going to take a chance on somebody like Shedeur Sanders, even later in the draft. Like, look at the Panthers, for example. You want Bryce Young to be the franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. You want Bryce Young to develop. You don't want Bryce Young to deal with Shedeur Sanders behind him because that's a circus that you bring in.
Right.
I think he turned a lot of teams off with what he said and did in the interviews. What he didn't do. There was a report that Brian Dable of the Giants asked him to handle the install of the offense, and he was like, "What? Why would I? What? I mean, that's just not going to fly with NFL teams." I know there's a report that some owners came in and said, "Take this guy off our boards." And so I think all of those factors really combine to force him down draft boards. And I've said this for years, but once you get past the second day in the third round, I mean, being the first pick of the fourth round and the last pick of the seventh round is pretty fungible. I mean, it's not totally apples to apples, but that is a really general area to land. And so I think it's just a guy who wasn't as good as the hype around him, a guy with a major league helicopter dad who's not afraid to go public, a guy who didn't perform well in interviews, and the economics of the quarterback position. Pretty simple.
Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. First of all, and I've heard some national media people say that he was blackballed.
Yeah, that's not true.
There's no possible way it could happen. Like, first of all, if that was if they colluded, I'm sure there would be a lawsuit, and you would lose that because it would be imminently provable. So forget about the conspiracy. You can't get enough people to have a conspiracy to keep a secret like that.
This is vastly different from the notion that NFL teams collectively decided not to trade for Lamar Jackson because they didn't want to establish fully guaranteed contracts. Like, that wasn't a Lamar thing. It was like a guaranteed contract thing after the Watson trade.
Right.
This is like, as former NC State football player and former Cardinals GM Steve Keim once famously said at the Combine, if Hannibal Lecter could run a 4.40, he'd go in the first round. And, that's the thing. If Shedeur Sanders, if he was good enough, all of that stuff that they dealt with would evaporate, and he would have been picked where his dad projected him to be picked.
If he was as good as he thought he was, then none of the stuff would have mattered. He would have gone 18th as opposed to third, but he would have gone. The Giants would have traded back to 25 to take him and not Jackson Dart. But let me stay on the Browns for a second, Will, because I found this fascinating, and we've been stick deep in hurricanes and all of that, so we haven't really dug into it. Go
Canes, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Game 5 tonight. I am blown away that the Browns passed on Travis Hunter. I know they got a good player in Mason Graham.
Yeah.
I know they got some draft capital that they needed. But from where I sit, Travis Hunter checks 2 boxes. No players in the league check 2 boxes. He checks top cornerback and, if not top wide receiver, number 2 wide receiver who's super dangerous. How do you pass on that guy? Everybody thought he was the best player in this draft. How do you pass on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, one, I would say thank you to the Cleveland Browns for passing on that because, honestly, Travis Hunter in Cleveland is just the worst possible result for fans of the NFL and fans who want to see. Because, I mean, like, the Browns quarterback room is an absolute, like, like you get like a poo-poo platter, right? You know, I mean, like, the appetizer you get. Just
See, you know what? It's aptly named.
Yeah,
right. It's very aptly named in this case.
Yeah, I mean, and so I think that the Browns looked at it as, because it seems to be that the understanding, and we'll see how well this works after the Browns go 3-14 again this year, but the understanding within that building with Andrew Berry, with Kevin Stefanski, the coach, Berry being the GM, of course, is that when Jimmy Haslam came out and said at the owners' meetings, we took a shot and we whiffed. That's on me with Deshaun Watson, that he is giving them a pass for an extra year as a result of the Deshaun Watson debacle that he has now admittedly, incurred on this franchise. And so to me, it seems like the Browns are saying, all right, we can trade down and get a really good player, Mason Graham, who we like a lot. We can also acquire what could be, Travis Hunter's awesome. I think Trevor. I bet Trevor Lawrence 40-1 to win MVP. I think that's too long. I think there's a really good value there. But
I wouldn't. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is very good.
I think Trevor Lawrence is really good. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence can get hurt. Trevor Lawrence could not play well under a new coaching staff. Brian Thomas might not have the same season he had last year. The Jags defense could be terrible. Like, that pick could end up being a top 10 pick. Like it was this year. Like, that wouldn't be surprising at all. A top 5 pick. So I understand what Cleveland was thinking in terms of loading up on first. You get 2 first-round picks for next year. Both probably, the Jaguars don't want to be in the top half of the draft, but it could be. You can go get a quarterback in a deeper class, especially when everybody else has been drafting the quarterbacks. And you took 2 flyers on Dylan Gabriel, which I just don't understand, but, to each his own, and Shedeur Sanders, where if like one of them pops at all as a rookie, maybe you've got, a little more wiggle room to decide on what you want to do, but you didn't really invest anything in them outside of a 3rd and a 5th round pick. So
I get it.
I
get it, but let me just interrupt you here.
I mean, on the other hand, Travis Hunter's freaking awesome.
He's 2 first.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter is 2 first-round picks. So if if Cleveland had gotten 2 additional first-round picks, it would make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
Jacksonville paid too much to move up from 5 to 3, but if you were ever going to do it for a non-quarterback,
I think Jacksonville did the right thing.
I'm just saying, just like the trade chart value-wise and like what it costs to move from 5 to 2 for a non-quarterback, they paid way too much. But again, that's the player that you go do it for.
All right,
the best player in the draft, a guy who can play both sides of the ball, a guy you can deploy as an offensive and defensive weapon. I mean, I get it for both sides, but I think you pick nits on both sides, and that's what makes it kind of a fair trade.
Okay, I still don't understand it from Cleveland's point of view because at best you've just broken even because Travis Hunter is 2 first-round picks. Let me ask you real quick about the Steelers clearly taking a gamble in not drafting a quarterback in the first. Like, they could have taken Jackson Dart. I don't know why they didn't. I'm not even saying that Jackson Dart's any good. I really don't. I've seen
Jackson Dart almost went 3rd, by the way. Almost looks really, really smart.
Well, the Giants, you're right, and the Giants ended up trading back into the first round for him. But here's my question. By not taking a quarterback until the 6th round in Will Howard, and maybe they are hoping he'll become Tom Brady, are they not gambling that we're either going to sign Aaron Rodgers, and maybe they are, which still wouldn't be a good idea, or we're going to trade for Kirk Cousins, because if not, they ain't making the playoffs, and their at least 500 streak is over because Mason Rudolph ain't that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stuff you heard from the Rooney family and the Steelers, sort of personnel guys, and in the interviews, like in the wake of the first 2 days of the draft, is basically like we're signing Aaron Rodgers, and we're just sort of letting this play out.
Okay,
we're not rushing it. I think it's a done deal. And
has to be
the whole Shedeur Sanders thing. I think Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if this is true for Jackson Dart. I get I'm not saying. I just get the sense from having watched Aaron Rodgers, in this league for a long time, and knowing how he operates and knowing how veteran quarterbacks operate, is that maybe, he didn't want to have a rookie right over his shoulder who he might get benched for, if the season were to go south. And so that could be why he decided to wait through the draft process, because he saw what happened with Kirk Cousins last year, where Kirk signs with Atlanta and they draft Michael Penix, and all of a sudden he's riding the pine the last few weeks of the season. So
he was bad.
I think the Rodgers, he was bad. Well, he had some good games. He had like a 500-yard game. But
in the first part of the season, he was good, and then he started to become bad, and Atlanta panicked.
I think Pittsburgh and Rodgers is a done deal. It was just going to wait till after the draft, and there's a reason why. Because it's Aaron Rodgers is the reason why the Steelers weren't hyper aggressive in getting quarterbacks in his draft class.
All right, I got one more thing for you, and then we'll let Will Brinson go. And it's really something you said earlier that I waited to the end if we had time. When you say 3/4 of the earth is covered by water, and the other quarter is covered by Deion Sanders, I just want you to know that is a phrase attributed to former Mets broadcaster and Hall of Fame hitter Ralph Kiner. Not about Deion Sanders, though, about a center fielder for the Phillies named Gary Maddox, that Kiner coined the phrase. No, I'm totally serious. Kiner coined the phrase, 2/3 of the earth is covered by water, and the other third is covered by Gary Maddox. So for people of my age, and I'm talking to you, Ken Glanville, I just shouted out my friend Ken. This is a very on brand Adam Gold. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Will Brinson, you're the man. I appreciate your time, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
You got it. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. It's one of my favorite phrases ever in sports. That's how good a defensive center fielder Gary Maddox was. And for you Phillies fans, you get what I'm talking about. Anyway, we got a break. We come back. Oh, one-timers. We have questions queuing up in the YouTube? Hope so. YouTube, go to YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan.
Or on Twitters.
Yeah, absolutely. One-timers, questions and answers next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers, forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining public power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages, help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare? Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Devant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Adam Gold.
Victoria, you played sports in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. Basketball, and I swam.
Could you imagine competing for $1 million?
No.
$1 million.
No. I competed for plastic trophies.
I was also a high school athlete, baseball player. No, and I could never even imagine it.
No.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is producing the program Game 5 tonight at Lenovo Center. We hope it will be the last game of the opening round series. Last year, Carolina, in the exact same situation, finished it off, beating the Islanders in Game 5. The year before, in exactly the same situation, they did not. Now, later that same playoff series, in the exact same situation, they did finish off the Devils in Game 5. And they played the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we all remember how that went. Not well. By the way, Florida looks like Florida again. And guess what? They're going to win the Stanley Cup.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah. No, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They're that good.
Yeah, they're clicking.
They are that good. They don't even have to click. They are mean and skilled at the same time. And they know. And they know they're good. All right, let's do a Q&A.
Okay, so looking to YouTube, or you can tweet at either of us on Twitter. But we have first up from WM. Svechnikov is now second in Canes history in playoff goals with 19. Can we ignore his mediocre regular seasons if he goes beast mode in the postseason?
Well, isn't that an easy answer?
So you're saying he's Jimmy Butler?
Yeah. Look, nobody doesn't care about the regular season. The regular season helps you, get advantages in the postseason. So it's not like the regular season doesn't matter. But would you want it the other way? Would you want a great regular season and then a no-show in the playoffs? Hell no.
That's the Maple Leafs.
It sours an entire season. Mm-hmm. During the crazy pandemic central, when the Martin Necas was on a pace for like a 70-something point season, and then he got to the playoffs, he did have that one moment, that wraparound goal against Nashville in Game 6, which got Carolina into overtime. They would have lost. They could have lost the game outright.
Yeah.
Right? Got him in overtime, and the Canes won in overtime. But he was so good during the regular season and stunk in the postseason that we all forgot about the regular season. So, of course, nobody will care. The only thing that will matter is if Andre plays well in the postseason.
Yeah, keep getting Hatties.
Just keep playing the way. I don't care. I am the guy who, do I want him to score goals? Yeah. But there was only one goal. Actually, I would say that none of the goals were really anything that Andre did so great except the finish on the power play goal. That was an elite pass from Seth Jarvis. So, great because Andre had to finish it out of midair. It was not on the ice. It was above. It was probably 4 inches, 5 inches off the ice when Andre batted it in. He didn't get all of it, but he didn't need to.
Yeah.
The first goal was a gift. The third goal was an empty net goal. But Andre played the game the right way. That's what we need to see.
All right, next up from Levi, do you think his time in Game 4 will give Piotr a boost for Game 5? Will that be enough to win the series tonight, in your opinion?
I mean, with Kochetkov, who knows? Because he is such a wild card. But I would like to think that he played well enough the rest of the game after the Meyer goal that I am not as concerned about him as I would have been if he appeared to just be hanging on for dear life. I didn't see that. I saw a player who looked like he was in control of himself. So I'm confident he'll play well, and I think the Canes will finish this out tonight.
All right, probably last but not least, Matthew wants to know, Adam, what will Dougie Hamilton's plus-minus rating at the end of tonight's game be?
Minus something. I mean, I'm hoping for a -4, but that might be too much to ask. I'll just say Dougie will be -2 tonight. And by the way, Sheldon Keefe said Brett Pesce and Jonas Siegenthaler were both game-time decisions. Both did not take the morning skate. No chance that Brett Pesce doesn't play tonight. 0. Because he's the only thing that has given New Jersey a semblance of a chance.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The draft tells me one thing for Bryce Young and the Panthers. It's put up or shut up time for the quarterback. They needed edge rushers. They needed safeties, corners, linebackers. So what did they do with the 8th overall pick? They got the number 1 wide receiver on their board. That is a message to Bryce. You better perform this year or else.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
August 11th is National 811 Day. 811 is the first step to getting your buried underground utilities like gas, electric, or internet lines located. Having these lines marked before digging helps keep you, your family, and your neighborhood safe. Play it safe when you plan on digging and call or click 811 3 working days before you dig. Learn more at nc811.org. Sponsored by North Carolina 811 and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with the station.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
If you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my friends.
For my community.
For everyone here. We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies us. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Listen, we can all universally acknowledge Shedeur Sanders' talent is better than Dylan Gabriel's. And there's not much else to discuss about that. So when that's the case, and that happens...
Hindsight is 20/20, but you just burned a third-round pick on Dylan Gabriel when I could have just took Shedeur in the third round and then went a different course in the fifth round.
Or do you dangle Shedeur out there like a carrot? Showcase him in preseason and possibly move him. Or Dylan Gabriel, whichever one.
So, I'm Adam Gold. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Game 5 Day, which I believe is masquerading as Tuesday. Gorgeous outside. Did the Miami Heat really lose by 1 billion yesterday?
Ooh, that's not good. See, I'm in total hockey mode.
They lost by a lot.
I'm all hockey.
They lost by a lot, to the point where there are those who think that Eric Spoelstra might be out. I don't believe so. I mean, I don't understand why Miami would fire a great coach who has won championships, but although maybe Spoelstra would want to go, although I doubt it, the regime is still the same that helped win titles in Miami. And they have certainly been good until recently, until Jimmy Butler decided he wanted to be good somewhere else. And Butler, through I'm sure a painful lower back hip injury, managed to gut the Warriors to a win last night over the Rockets. But if the Pittsburgh Penguins could allow head coach Mike Sullivan to walk out the door, then the Miami Heat might be willing to let Eric Spoelstra walk out the door. If Spoelstra left Miami, he would be unemployed for no time. 0 seconds. There are probably 25 teams that would fire their coach to hire Spoelstra. And I bet you, and there's going to be about 8 NHL jobs open, including Boston, which is already open, and he's from that area. He's from just south of Boston. The Rangers are open. The Flyers are open. We have some. Chicago's open. There are a lot of high-profile franchises that are looking for a head coach. Mike Sullivan's going to be able to choose which one he wants. He can interview those teams for jobs. He's that good a coach. You could argue he's the best coach in the NHL. And I think he was just tired of this rebuild. So if you're the Penguins, I mean, you're letting literally one of the best coaches in the NHL, you're letting him walk away. And that's fine. good luck, but Sullivan's going to have his pick of jobs. He can't have this one. We have a head coach here, and we will hear from him as we run it back. All right, so some of the sound from the Hurricanes is from yesterday. There was a meeting of the media today, and I'll tell you if anything is different from what was said yesterday. Hurricanes did not practice yesterday. And here is the head coach, Rod Brindamore, on the importance of ending this sucker tonight.
Very, very important, obviously. You don't want to, you obviously don't want to give them another breath, but we also know how hard it's going to be. They're a great team and very competitive, and we know we're going to get their best. Yes.
The Devils are a very flawed team. We've heard all series long about, well, we're not getting any, scoring from our bottom six. We need depth scoring. Devils aren't getting a ton of scoring, let alone depth scoring. And Sheldon Keefe, when they skated this morning, had basically the same lines out there. And here's my question for him. If you want something to be different, you have to change. I don't understand. To me, they only have two lines that can score. Now, that doesn't mean these guys are incapable of scoring. But right now, Carolina's third and fourth lines, and I think tonight they will be the Kotkaniemi and Jankowski lines, they're significantly better than the six players who will play against them for the Devils. If you're New Jersey, you have to lengthen your lineup. You might have to put maybe more of a grinder with two good players, because I think they've got six top-line forwards, and they have them basically employed in their top two lines. They're going to get swallowed up by Carolina, so they're going to have to beat the best of the Hurricanes with their best. I just don't see that. One of those is the Jordan Staal line. I don't see that line losing a matchup, although they could. But I just don't understand what the Devils and Sheldon Keefe are thinking about here. All right, now, Andrei Svechnikov, who had 3 goals, 5 hits, and 6 shots on goal in game number 4, wants them to play their style.
Go there, play our best game. It's going to be an important game for us. It's always fun to play home. Fans going to be cheering for us. And just play our game, and hopefully we're going to get that W tomorrow.
So Carolina's game is to have the puck, to put pressure on the Devils. And if you do that, New Jersey, between not having great forwards anyway after their top handful. You could say the same thing for Carolina, by the way, but Carolina's depth is way better than New Jersey's. They're also banged up on the blue line. No Luke Hughes, no Brendan Dillon. It looks like no Jonathan Kovacevic. And I know they said Jonas Siegenthaler and Brett Pesce were game-time decisions. Look, I don't know about Siegenthaler. 0 chance that Brett Pesce doesn't play tonight. If he doesn't play, if Pesce is out of the lineup, Jacob Markstrom will have to make 50 saves to win. 50.
Yep. And I hope he doesn't 49 of the times. I would love to have 85
score, Hurricanes
to 2.
49. The Devils 5.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
That would be crazy. Now, speaking of depth, Sebastian Aho, knowing that Andre got on the scoreboard, but in game 1, Logan Stankoven, we have a goal from Jordan Martinook, Jalen Chatfield. He knows how important it is to get the whole team involved.
More often than not, there's scoring from all the players, or like different players, and if you want to win, and obviously that's been kind of the case. I mean, a lot of different players on the score sheet, and that's big. I mean, obviously that's kind of how we are built too. It's not the line or two. It's more 4 lines and balanced, and every line that can play, and it's big.
All right, now let's get to. I mentioned the NBA playoffs and where the Heat lost by. I said $1 billion. I lied. It wasn't that much. It was only 55.
Yeah, $500 million.
They only scored 83. They lost by 55.
Wow.
Whew.
Yeah.
The score at half was Cleveland 72, Miami 33.
Not so hot.
It's
a cold heat.
Yeah. And Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of Miami, talked about the series ending. Four straight.
As an organization, yeah, we're going to look at this and say this is unacceptable. We got to get to another level. But you can balance. Multiple things can be true. And guys got a lot better. Guys got fast-tracked and a lot better. That really helped us in the two play-ins just to get in this. And what I loved about this group is how badly they wanted to get in this dance. And that's something, moving forward.
So, I mean, Spoelstra's such a good coach. You hate that he is on the wrong end of a 55-point loss. But when your team is so reliant on Jimmy Butler for, to basically drive a winning culture, and he absolutely checked out all the way back in, November? You're doomed. Absolutely doomed. I would say that the real failure of the Miami Heat this year wasn't what happened against Cleveland. Cleveland was the best team certainly in the East, maybe the NBA. The real failure was not moving Butler earlier. Understanding that, okay, this can't work here. He doesn't want to be here. All he's going to do is cause problems. It took a long time for them to get to the point where they moved him. He was not even with the team for a good chunk of that. So that's the failure. Or maybe even allowing... I mean, how does that mindset even set in if you're Miami and you've had good success with Butler? Weird. Anyway, that to me is a major issue. All right, bottom of the hour, Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News is going to join us. But when we come back, I do not feel comfortable talking about the relationship between Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. Okay?
It's rough.
I don't feel like, A, none of my business what their relationship is. B, I don't care what their relationship is. But some things that strike me about it that came out on CBS this morning that I just want to bring up. So we'll talk about that for a few minutes, and then Mike DeCourcy at the bottom of the hour, we will talk about the ACC's decision to go to it hasn't been reached yet, but the ACC is likely headed toward an 18-game conference basketball schedule, and I will say that they have to go further than that. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but that doesn't mean me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL draft approaches, insight on free agents and prospects, plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 8. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, and I've been trying to save you thousands of dollars and hundreds of dollars for the last 25 years. I think I've done a pretty good job of convincing you that paying no closing cost is your best move. Saves you thousands, and then when the rates come down, you can refinance free of charge, saving you thousands again, and now we can save you hundreds. The truth of the matter is that if you pay closing costs, all you are doing is buying a lower rate. Save yourself $50 a month. I love saving $50 a month. Do it whenever I can, but not if it costs me $5,000 at the outset, and that's what it's going to cost you. What's the break-even point? 12 months a year times 50? What is that? $600? It's going to take you a while to get to $5,000, isn't rent it. So don't ever pay closing costs. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. Home of the original no closing cost mortgage. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
We all want more for North Carolina. More boundless views, more adventures in the outdoors, and more clean roads to get there. But to get more, we have to do less. Less littering, that is. Make it your nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Welcoming you back to appointment day at the Martinez house. Raul Martinez looking stressed about scheduling a colon cancer screening, but he just pledged to get screened.
Stand Up to Cancer and Optum want to help you reduce your risk for cancer. Visit takeahealthystand.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at richielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse, no, you are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion, but you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Mike DeCourcy, bottom of the hour. He's a Steelers fan, so we'll ask him what he thinks the Steelers are doing. Which, according to Will Brinson earlier, he says he thinks the Steelers know that they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I have questions about that. Like, really? You watched him last year, right? But also, the proposal that would have the Atlantic Coast Conference go from 20 conference games in basketball to 18. I would suggest the league go to 16 games in league, but 16 scheduled games, but then leave 2 games over for the final week, or maybe the final midweek of the first half and the second half, and play kind of wild card games, or maybe leave the midweek open the last 2 weeks and have games that we don't know what the matchups are going to be. We're going to make them with the standings in mind, or television, which probably go hand in hand. Anyway, we'll talk to Mike DeCourcy about that. The Atlantic Coast Conference is mad. They only got, 4 teams in? Carolina played in the first 4, won that game, and then got smoked like a salmon in their opening game against Ole Miss. All right, we'll do that bottom of the hour. Right now, Very quickly, Isaiah Evans' name is on the NBA early entry list, but I think that is a formality. If I were him, I would get feedback from the NBA, go through that process, as is the kid that is coming out of the transfer portal from Washington State to Duke. Yeah, go through the process, get all the information you can, and then go back to Duke, kick tail, do the best you can, maybe win a national championship, certainly pursue it, and then next year, go for the big bucks. I don't think either guy necessarily is a high draft pick now, so no sense. I mean, go back, have a good time at Duke, and make a lot of money and win a lot of basketball games. That's that. Now about Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson, and UNC football. And I'm not even sure it is about UNC football. So we talked about the relationship, and I mentioned yesterday that it was 60 minutes. It wasn't 60 minutes. It was actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's far worse looking for Belichick and Hudson, in my opinion, that it wasn't 60 minutes, that it was simply CBS This Morning.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am not trying to disparage the morning TV network news shows. Hard-hitting journalism is not what I get from those. Not what anybody gets from those. They are very much personality pieces. And we have said from the very beginning that UNC football this year will get more football coverage, attention, than not only any year they have ever had, but I think it is set up for UNC football to get more coverage than any university's football program has ever had in a singular season. And it doesn't really matter if they're really good or really bad, it's going to be the same. And frankly, when you determine good versus bad, I'm not sure there is a middle ground. I think anything short of good is bad, because that's how it's going to be viewed. But so much attention is going to be on the football. But here's the other part of this, and this is what CBS felt so strongly about that they included it in the piece. And even the promotional discussions about this was the interruptions, the intrusions, the constant presence, oversight of Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend. His significant other. I have no idea where they are in their relationship. Are they going to get married? I have no clue. And again, I said this earlier, I don't care. I do not. If they're happy, then fine. I don't care. The only thing I care about is how it impacts UNC football. And I have no reason to believe that it will negatively impact UNC football. So I don't care. But watching that, I come to this conclusion. And this is not a negative, this is a reality conclusion. Bill's just like any of us. In any relationship where somebody seems to be the one driving decisions. Now, she's not driving football decisions. I'm going to guess she's not drawing up plays. She's not deciding on personnel. All of the stuff that she is clearly handling, Belichick is relying on her as his creative muse, right? That's what he said in the book. We're going to get to the book in a second, because there's an email that email that Bill wrote to the staff that she put on Instagram. So she wanted everybody to see it. Okay? We're going to get to it, because I think this is the money. What Hudson is doing has nothing to do with football at all. It's all about the way the program, the way Bill is presented. It has nothing to do with the program. It's about the way Bill Belichick is presented. And that has nothing to do with what UNC is going to look like on Saturdays at all. So again, I don't think there's much of a story here for the football side of this. But I think it's relatable because for those, and this is going to sound in some ways like chauvinistic, and I don't mean it this way. If you are in a relationship, chances are, like in mine, my wife, she makes decisions and she asks me for my opinion of those decisions. Like, what are we going to do here? She wants to know what I think, but she might have, not all the time, she might have in her mind what she wants to do. And she either wants feedback, whatever. Again, this is not a negative. It is the reality. It looks like Bill Belichick is in a relationship with somebody who absolutely knows what she wants, whether it's for her or for him, and that's the way it's going to be. All right? I think a lot of people look at Belichick as somebody who doesn't allow outside decision makers to make his decisions for him. And I think people are like, holy cow.
Yeah.
What happened to Bill Belichick?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the guy who got rid of Tom Brady? To the guy who got rid of Lawyer Malloy or Ty Law? All of these great players. What happened to that guy?
Yeah.
The guy who makes those cold-hearted decisions.
We all have that friend. A
Right.
relationship just flips him 180.
And he, right now, appears to be in a relationship with somebody who was ruling him with an iron fist. Again, I don't care about the relationship. So in some ways, it's relatable. But here is something that I found fascinating, and I'm going to have to put on reading glasses because the print is small, so I apologize for those people watching on YouTube who see me put on glasses. If you're listening on the radio, forget I even mentioned it.
They're very fancy glasses.
Thank you very much. They're not really, but it is. So here's where, to me, now I think we're getting some insight. Belichick sends an email to like a bunch of people in the football office, marketing office, I guess. All. I don't think this is fantastic, but it probably will hype the book, which is clearly the ongoing theme here. Now, I didn't even realize that Belichick had a book out. I mean, I knew he had a book out, but I had no idea when it was written. I don't care. There's zero chance I will read the Bill Belichick book.
Right.
And I don't know if Bill would appreciate that or not, but I would love to have him on and talk about this issue from that standpoint. I'm willing to help you sell your book, but I have zero interest in reading it. None. Okay? He says, this is about what I expected from the media. We went through how important it was for me to put, quote, I effed up, end quote, in the book. And of course, that is the feature of this article. So they're talking about an article, and I'm not going to read the rest of the email because whatever, I'll just tell you the gist of it. It seems to me that this entire scenario is all about selling the book.
Yes.
To the point where, privately, they are disparaging of the media, which I'm sure every football organization, basketball organization, hockey organization, privately is disparaging of the media because we look at things through different lenses than they do. And Bill essentially set the bait of here's something I effed up, and they would run with it rather than talk about all the other good things in the book about. And the book is essentially about his life in coaching and his influence and all that, which I'm sure would be fascinating to people who gave a damn. I'm not in that category. That's fine. Happy to help you sell the book. But it does occur to me that everything here is a grift and that the whole thing is to set the trap for the media to create this scenario where one is against the other more than it already is. And they are succeeding through this method. Absolutely succeeding. If it works and sells books, which in this email, they point out is the whole goal.
Right.
Is to sell as many books as possible. So,
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
This whole thing is a grift. I don't know if Belichick coaching at UNC is a grift. I don't think it is.
Right.
I do think his intent is to prove a point in coaching that he is still an elite coach, which I believe he is. Whether or not it would work, my conversation with Bill, if it ever happens, and I am in no way saying it will or should, but my conversation is, tell me everything you want to tell me about the book, and now I have a couple of football questions. What do you think it will take for UNC to become a national power in football?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I want to know.
I would rather see him in the news for football things versus him doing footloose recreations on the beach. Like,
I kind of dig
I mean,
that.
do whatever you want, Bill.
I
But like,
dig that. And that's what CBS was talking about.
Yeah.
It was like nothing about. Tell me about your defensive tackles.
right? No,
that
they
wasn't.
were like, so I know you don't really meditate, but ... Well, thanks for pointing
You're
that out.
You're not into yoga or
Yeah.
Pilates.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think this whole thing to me is a game. Is a game. It's going to be fascinating to watch, but I think the whole thing is a game. And I know that the people who cover UNC football hate it. And I'm not talking about like the outside media. I am talking about like the school-specific media. I think they hate this. And I do wonder if it doesn't work, if the football isn't good, if the school-specific media won't, in some ways, turn on the program. But that's what it looks like to me. We're trying to sell books. I don't know, maybe if everybody bought a book, the issue would go away. And maybe that's the whole goal. Beat them over the head with the book, and until everybody has one, we're just going to keep acting like this and becoming and then complain about the sensationalism. Whoa, what did I just I made up a word. Sensationalized coverage. Maybe that's the way it's all going to work out. All right, now to the issue that we actually started the show on, the Atlantic Coast Conference decision, which is not official yet, to go from a 20 to an 18-game college basketball schedule, which I suggested a long time. I never liked 20, and I could just start it from this standpoint. If you're not going to get to a full round robin, what good is 20? Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News at TSN Mike on Twitter, Hall of Fame college basketball writer, but also Steelers fan. And before we start, congratulations to you. You have been a Liverpool fan a lot longer than I have. And for the second time in the last, 5 years, but the first time in front of fans, the Reds, Premier League champions with 4 games to spare. Was it as much fun, even though it felt like a coronation?
Oh, I think it's different, obviously, than celebrating a Super Bowl or Stanley Cup because there's the immediacy of it. In this case, it's coming. Or even the Champions League with Liverpool in 2005 or 2019, there's that immediacy and the suspense. And in this case, there was no suspense. It was just a question of what day they were going to do it. They weren't going to lose 5 consecutive games while Arsenal won 5 consecutive games. That wasn't going to happen.
No.
And so it's a little different, but it was very rewarding to sit through that on Sunday. I watch a lot of the Liverpool that I watch as a concession to my wife on delay. But this one I said, no, you mind? I need to see this live. I need to experience this when everybody else who loves Liverpool is experiencing it.
Yeah, it was great fun for me. As I said on Twitter, I know you retweeted it. You never forget your first, and this was my first. I'm a brand new fan. You've been a fan for a long time. We can have a longer conversation about the current and the future of Liverpool another time. Let me get to the ACC issue. I am a fan of a smaller conference schedule than a larger one. Just from math, it doesn't make any sense to me to play 20 conference games versus even 16, because I'm pretty sure I have this right. In every conference game, there is a winner and a loser. So your overall record has no chance of improving with a conference game. I'd rather schedule smarter within the league than play 20 games. Like, there was no reason for Duke and Miami to play twice last year, but they did. What do you make of maybe the reasoning behind the ACC and the idea of going back to 18?
Well, to me, it's like if you need a knee replacement, you go and get a root canal. I mean, that's basically what they're doing. It has no correlation whatsoever to NCAA tournament success in terms of entering the field. It has none. And I'll give you the proof. I worked it out before I got on today. Over the last 5 years, the SEC has gotten 42 bids. Now, 14 of those were last year, but 42 total bids the SEC has earned in the last 5 seasons. The Big Ten has earned 40 total bids in the last 5 seasons. The Big Ten has only gone below 8 bids one time in that period. The SEC has gone below 8 bids twice. So they're 14 and the 2 8s behind it. They're starting to gain momentum as a league, and they're getting better. But in any case, one of those leagues plays 18 regular season games, and the other has played 20 for almost a decade, not quite. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. What matters is, how do you play? Yeah. How well do you play? That's really all that it comes down to. And most of that is contained to the non-conference portion of the schedule. Now, a lot of coaches in the ACC have complained about that. They're saying, "Oh, you get better." Well, I mean, everybody could get better. While the ACC teams are getting better, who's to say that the SEC and Big Ten teams and Big 12 teams that they lost to in November and December aren't getting better?
Everybody gets better. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and work out a deal with, I don't know, the Big 12. And say, we'd like to have a challenge series, but we'd like it to be in February so that all of us who get better can be rewarded. Okay, I don't have any problem with that.
Right.
But the television networks and the leagues have kind of morphed into this deal where everybody plays all their non-league games in November, December, and all their league games in January, February, early March. And that's where we are now and have been for a while. And what matters is, how many of those games do you win in November and December? And who did you beat among those teams? Mm-hmm. If you look at what the SEC did in getting 14 bids, an all-time record in terms of number, in terms of percentage of membership, they broke all the records this year. And what they did was they scheduled brilliantly. And when I say brilliantly, I'm talking about all of their best teams and this, entering the league, entering the year, I mean, what they expected to be. Auburn expected to be great, so they played a monstrous schedule. Yeah. Alabama expected to be great, monstrous schedule. Some of the other, Florida maybe didn't know, and they played a pretty meager schedule.
Yes, they did.
So it doesn't matter to your performance which of those paths you enter, but as a league, because they did what they did, and then their weaker teams, South Carolina played like 18 high school teams and Clemson. I mean, that's kind of what they did. And so they didn't get buried in non-conference, and they kept the power rating and the KenPom and the net and all that pretty decent, and it worked out for them. And so that's smart scheduling. Yep. I don't see that as much in the ACC.
We talk about it in football all the time. They talk about how great their football schedule is. I'm like, what good does that do you if you don't win the games? All it does is expose you for not being good. I don't want to trick the system. I want to be good. I want good teams to get bids to the NCAA tournament, and I don't think you're going to fool your way into that because the people who make these decisions, they can see through that. I would take it a step further. I would go to 16 games in terms of my schedule. I would actually leave open some flexible dates to make other conference game matchups like the last two, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of each of the last 2 weeks, and set matchups based on standings, based on interest. I would make my schedule entirely in the interest of television and fans, because ultimately this is inventory. So the way they're
that's why
that's
why the Big Ten has played 20 for as long as they have. They have between BTN, Fox, and now Peacock, they have a number of business partners and CBS that they're trying to make sure that they get inventory. And so their 20 league games, they feel are of value to their league partners, and they get very well compensated for that.
Yeah, the ACC should think about redoing the schedule. Like, don't worry about equity. And basketball apparently is the only sport where every team must play every other team once. We don't do it in football. We don't do it in baseball. We don't do it in any other sport. Basketball is the only one that it is required. We play 56 freaking games in baseball. We don't play every other team in the league. We shouldn't have to do that in basketball either. There's no reason for Duke to have to play Florida State unless Florida State happens to be good. Therein comes the flexible scheduling that I would employ. There's no reason Duke has to play Cal in basketball. And I know the other part of that is, why is Cal even in the league? I get it. But there's no reason those two teams have to play every year. You can play every other year. That's fine. Just like we do sort of in football, though that's not going to be an every other year thing either. But we have to move past this, well, we have to play everybody in the league. No, we don't. And we shouldn't act like we should.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. If that's what again, I was a huge opponent of adding Cal and Stanford. I thought it added nothing to the league. And I don't think that I've been proven wrong to this point, although Kyle Smith, I think, will get Stanford to be very good. He's an outstanding coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they'll be very good in a reasonable period of time. But I still don't think that it was worth going all the way to California to get that. And so that part of it is over and done. But I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I'm not a super big proponent of the idea of keeping the schedule open so that you can match the teams that are playing well. This feels circusy to me.
Yeah, it's fine. The ACC should have a circus. Kids love the circus. I'm not a big circus fan. The elephants don't smell great, but we need to take care of our elephants, by the way. But yeah, I have no problem with just being different also, because the attraction might actually help you. I am a fan of some form of promotion and relegation in ACC.
Yeah, that doesn't
basketball.
make any sense, Adam, because if you do that, then you're telling the NCAA tournament committee, all those teams that have been relegated, forget about them. They're done. Don't even pay attention to
What
them.
if they have good records and have won good games outside
Doesn't
of the
matter.
league?
You said they weren't any good. You kicked them out of your league, basically.
No, I'm not kicking them
There's
out of
no
the league.
way you're going to convince the committee.
I'm scheduling in such a way, and there would be some overlap in the two schedules, but I would be more interested in taking my best teams, the teams who I thought would be my best, and playing them against each other on a regular basis.
Right.
Rather,
that's what the Big East did in the years prior to their dissolution, to their split, the basketball-football split. They had what they called tiered scheduling.
Yep, that's what I did.
I don't know exactly where the tiers stopped, but let's say 1 to 5.
Sure.
In those years, it was UConn, Pitt, Syracuse. Can't remember who the other powers would have been.
Maybe
But
it was
let's say
Georgetown.
UConn, Pitt, Syracuse. I'm sorry?
Maybe it was Georgetown.
I don't think it might have been. Let's just say it was. So those teams would all play each other twice, and then the middle teams would all play each other twice. and then the bottom teams would all play each other twice. There was when the Big East got 11 teams in, which was the record prior to the SEC this year. The teams at the bottom of the league, DePaul, South Florida, Seton Hall, I think was one of them. Providence was pretty poor then. Those teams couldn't beat anybody else in the league aside from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody kind of got their little layup, like Pitt would get Providence on their floor, and it was a nice, easy win, but they didn't play them twice, so it didn't weigh down their power rankings, et cetera. And that's how they worked it. And I think every league that does that, that goes in that direction is doing a smart thing. I think that's intelligent. You're not always going to bat 1,000. I mean, you could put Georgetown in your first tier in that period, and they could turn out to be poor. You talked about Duke and Miami. I mean, I don't think that everybody saw Miami being a train wreck.
No, year. not a 200, not a team ranked in the 200s, right? But I don't think they were supposed to be great.
No, and again, a very good reason why Duke and Miami shouldn't have played twice this year. Should have played once, wherever it happened to fall. Road game, home game for the Devils, whichever. They shouldn't have played twice.
No.
That's with the problem that the ACC's in now, they should go to tiered scheduling. But dropping the number of games is not the answer. It doesn't hurt or help. If you think it works better for you, then fine. But it doesn't make you better or worse in the eyes of the committee. What does is scheduling smarter within your league and scheduling smarter outside your league. And then when you schedule smarter, hey, the SEC, they had, like Michigan played Florida and Oklahoma on neutral floors. So that's a top team in the SEC and a lower tier team in the SEC. And they lost to both of them. So the SEC had to win those games to be the league that got 14 teams. But that's how you get it done. Schedule smart and then win the games.
Mike DeCourcy, one of the reasons I became a Liverpool fan. I thank you very much for that. It certainly paid off, and it will pay off again in the future. You never walk alone, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
You bet, Adam. Thanks.
You got it. Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News. We have to get out of this mindset that, A, there needs to be equity in scheduling. There doesn't, because there isn't anywhere. Football, basketball, baseball, anything. And we have to do what's best for fans and television. Those are the partners that pay you. If TV... There's a reason why the Hurricanes played a playoff game at 6 o'clock last week. It wasn't because they wanted to. TV wanted Carolina to. That's who's paying the bills. All right, we'll stretch and we will place bets. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers, forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining public power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages, help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare? Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Devant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I will tell you right now, I'm to the point where I'm confident of a Hurricanes win that I will not risk my own American money.
Yeah, staying away from it.
In order to buy a win.
Yeah.
I feel like Carolina's going to win tonight.
Sure hope so.
Yeah. All right, although I haven't even looked at the money line. Anyway, it's time to stretch.
Okay, so I know that you kind of mentioned this during the break. You were looking at the Mets score, which I thought was funny because you mentioned that they were playing the Washington Nationals.
Yes.
Well, the Washington Nationals really should own dogs and make decisions wisely because last Friday they had pups in the park, which always love when pups are at the park.
Yep.
However, some genius decided that they were also going to make it a fireworks night. If you have a dog, then you realize that dogs don't like fireworks.
No, they hate fireworks.
So my boy Biff is not a fan. But basically what they did is at the park, they didn't let people know that both of these things were going on. So 20 minutes before the end of the game, they put on the Jumbotron a photo that pretty much said, 20 minutes out, hey, we've got fireworks coming up, so if you have dogs and you want to avoid it, you should probably leave because, yeah, it's going to happen. Like 20 minutes is long enough to get your dog away from this place. Terrible. All of this is just awful. It's probably a good thing they lost to the Mets because that's woof, literally woof. Like, Reddit went crazy with everything because one person said, obviously, 20 minutes wasn't long enough for them to get far enough away for her dog not to get freaked out. Also, another person, let me tell you, we'd be throwing hands because another person said that they were terrified. Their dog got out of the harness, ran into traffic, and almost got hit by a car. We're going to have real problems if that were my Biffs.
Wow.
So do not do this. Any park should not do that. Durham Bulls is ran way better, so they know better than to do something like that. But yeah, if you see that, maybe just check and make sure it's not a firework night at a baseball park. But one thing we can make sure of, hopefully, is we place some good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right, let's rock the house here.
Okay, well, we've got...
I got everything wrong yesterday.
The game that starts before our Canes, Ottawa Senators, Toronto Maple Leafs. They're in Toronto. This is a do or die for the Senators. This is the Leafs are up 3, so I think the Leafs are just going to go ahead and win this one tonight. And I will take the over 5.5. So Leafs to win, over 5.5 is plus 190.
I agree with you. I think the Leafs are going to win. I'm going to start with Champions League soccer.
Nice.
All right, we will start at the Emirates. Arsenal and PSG. For my money, Barcelona's pretty great too. This is an awesome matchup. I guess it should be. Semifinals of Champions League. I think Arsenal wins. Arsenal's plus 115, but I think both teams will score. So Arsenal wins, both teams score plus 283.
Okay.
Little value.
Let's see here. So I'm going to do a later game. They're all tied up 2-2. Edmonton Oilers and the Kings. They're in Los Angeles, but give me the Kings to win tonight, and I'll take the over 6.5. Might be high scoring. That together is plus 250.
All right, now let's go to the other Champions League matchup. Barcelona home to Inter Milan. Barca wins. They're minus 160, but this will not be a both team score. Barca wins in a shutout is plus 208. All right, and I like Mark Jankowski as an anytime goal scorer tonight. I talked to him for the pregame show. I'm rooting for him.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Canes are back in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's Game 5.
They score! Andrei Svechnikov! And Carolina, 52 seconds into this one, has a 1-0 lead.
Store watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7:30.
The score! And Andrei Svechnikov has gone to beast mode. His second goal of the game.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night? Worried about your finances in these crazy times? Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. If you're like most people, you have racked up a sizable amount on your credit cards, and the monthly payment is not making a dent in it. It's time to call Loan Pronto. If you own a home, you have a super easy way to get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash. Loan Pronto has lots of options for helping you tap into the equity in your home and get the cash you need to get back on solid footing. Most homeowners who do this end up wiping out all their credit card debt and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,000. Look, you didn't mean to end up here, but you don't have to keep stressing about money. Call Loan Pronto for fast debt relief now. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Again, the website, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Caniacs, raise up. It's time to get loud. The Carolina Hurricanes are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Join Lenovo in cheering on our hometown team. Let's light the lamp and bring the Stanley Cup to the Lenovo Center.
The next disaster is coming. The time to get ready is now. Make a plan. Choose meetup locations and keep a contact list. Build a kit with food and water. Don't forget your pets. Keep extra medicine on hand. Make copies of key documents and keep them somewhere safe. Stay informed, learn about local hazards, and sign up for alerts. Be ready. Learn more at americares.org/sendusin.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Gaines trying to clear it out, but Siegenthaler will find it. They'll play it up for Nason. Nason can't get it around Slavin. What a play by Jacob Slavin. Slavin goes short side. He scores! Roll the highlight reel. What a play on goal. Jacob Slavin puts Carolina up 2-0.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. I did get a better reaction from Rod Brindamore to the goal after the fact. I refused to allow. Well, it was a bad goal. Like, no.
Yeah, did we watch the same play?
Whether or not Jacob Markstrom wants that whole sequence back is another story altogether. There was nothing about that was cheap. That was one of the plays of the year for me. Something that, I don't know, Mike Commodore might be capable of doing. Maybe not today, but Mike Commodore's name is on the Stanley Cup. A Hurricanes legend joins us as we check in on Carolina's run to maybe another Stanley Cup. Just about that play. I mean, how much of that was something that very few other people are capable of doing?
Well, I know I can't do it. I'll just say that. I couldn't do that at any point. Definitely not now. And I wouldn't have done that 20 years ago either. But, yeah, there was a lot to that. But, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it. It's nice to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you saw that play live. I actually reacted to the steal first, and then the goal to me was, you've got to be kidding. But I thought the defensive play alone was worth the highlight.
Yeah, the defense was awesome. I did see it. Being completely honest, I was at a bar, so I wasn't like I was watching it super close. I've been watching a lot of the games this year. I watch the playoffs all the time, but I was at a bar during this, so I didn't see the whole thing. I kind of saw it in clips, but I did see the defensive part of it, which was great. It was a fantastic play. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, there aren't very many players who can do that. And the thing about Slavin is that particular shot, he did it to the Islanders a year ago, banking it off the mask of Ilya Sorokin. He did it to the Rangers, I believe, in bubble hockey, scoring. It was either on Henrik Lundqvist or Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin was more, I don't know if Shesterkin was a starter then or not, but he has done that before. As a defenseman watching Jacob Slavin, what are the things that people miss the most about his game?
Yeah, I think he's kind of been, if you want to, I mean, I know not in the Raleigh area, but he's kind of been a little bit of a secret on how good he is. I mean, I won't say like amongst the players and former players, but just in general up until that Four Nations, and he got a lot of press during the Four Nations. But I'd say, like, at least for when I'm watching the game, I mean, he makes a lot. I mean, obviously his positioning, it's a lot of stuff that isn't like, you can watch him play. I'd say in the Four Nations, for example, like he was playing a lot. He's playing against the best players, and I wouldn't say he makes he's not going to make a ton of plays that, like, for your average fan, like, wows you, but he's always in the right spot. He's taking care of the other team's best players. And that, I mean, speaking from experience, I got to try to do that, a little bit during my career. And that's not easy to do, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and at Four Nations to deal with McDavid on one shift and then McKinnon on the next. I mean, that'll give you gray hair. And he's just like ho-hum about it. I talked to Seth Jarvis before, and Jarvis actually was quoted. I asked him about it after the fact, but Jarvis was quoted as saying, I don't want to play against Slavin because he would beat you and then he wouldn't talk about it. He would just smile at you. Like there's no chirping to Jacob Slavin. Is that more disconcerting?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it all depends on the individual's personality, but yeah, I mean, I think I would imagine as an offensive guy or whatever, especially if you're a little bit mouthier. So let's just, I'll just use like a Matthew Tkachuk who kind of comes up, if he's getting shut down and Slavin's not buying into any of his, extra antics or yapping back and forth, and he realizes that that's not his personality and that's not in his best interest, so I'm going to avoid it at all, and I'm just going to play. Yeah, that would be a little disconcerting for sure for somebody on the other side, I would imagine.
Mike Commodore is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Canes Devils Game 5 tonight. Speaking of extra antics, we have seen them in the series. I'm not sure that anything awful happened with Meyer versus Freddie Anderson. I thought it should have been a 2-minute minor called on the ice. I don't think it certainly wasn't a major penalty because there wasn't a ton of contact, but you can't hit the goalie, and Meyer clearly hit the goalie. What was your view of that play and subsequently Carolina's response to it?
Yeah, I thought it was fine, and I'm with you on the 2-minute. Like, I get a little lost these days with when it comes to goalie interference. I think everybody is a little bit, because especially if the sound is off and I'm just watching and I'll look and I'll be like, okay, like that was interference, and then it's not, or the other way as well. So I'm a little confused on it in general, but I'm with you there. I thought it was definitely, he was in there. I thought it was a 2-minute penalty. I didn't think it was anything egregious. And the response was fine. If I'm with the Hurricanes, hey, look, you're up 3-1. Let's just keep this train rolling. We don't need to get worried about the other stuff, and I think they're doing a good job of that.
Because it is the playoffs, and we have seen nastiness all over. All you got to do is look to the Battle of Florida to see how nasty a series can get. And I'm okay with it. Does Carolina need to be involved in more of that, or should they stay away from all of those things? Because I think teams will take liberties if you really don't push back.
No, don't get me confused. You need to push back. I think you don't need to. I don't think that's a massive strength of the Canes, let's say. But at the same time, if I'm in that locker room, I don't want to get pushed around either. And if the opportunity presents itself, or if it's the right personnel or whatnot, more importantly, time in the game, time in the series, then hey, if you want to try and even score a little bit, or if you want to put a little exclamation mark on something, then I'm all for that 100%. I think that's a huge part of playoff hockey, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, I do think it's a fine line, and Rod will have a good grasp of that. I mean, you don't want people running wild, but if the time's right, obviously the most important thing is to win the games and to stay in the games, and that's most important. But yeah, by no means do you want to be out there getting pushed around. Not a chance.
Mike Commodore is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I talked to Sean Hill, and he said after that play, the Meyer versus Anderson, he said, you don't have to fight, but Meyer needed to have third-degree jersey burns on the back of his neck, which is a good way of putting that. Let me ask you what you like the most about this Hurricanes team as they are made up.
You know what? I mean, I think, with today's game, I think speed-wise, I like their back end. From what I've seen, I think some guys have taken, I usually end up kind of looking at the back end, so the D-core a little bit, and they've impressed me as a whole. They're not just the guys that you expect, but as a whole, I think they've been very good. You know what? I mean, I've been, to be honest, the last few years, in the playoffs especially, I'd like the Canes. You just have to look at their record. They've been very, very successful since Rod took it over. The only thing I would say is just that it hasn't come out yet, and hopefully it doesn't. But, it's just, the last couple of years, I think they've just been a little susceptible, and I'm not blaming any one person, but you just can't have the weak goals. That's you get once in a while that happens, but you can't be having multiple goals go in from below the goal line, for example, which kind of happened the last couple of years. So, if they can tighten that up, which it looks like they are, and keep doing what they're doing, they look good to me. I think they can easily. I don't want to get ahead. It's game by game for sure, but I can get ahead of it now. I have nothing to do with it. So, I like them. I don't see any reason why they can't come out of the East. It's not going to be easy, but I don't see any reason why they can't.
Final thing for Mike Commodore, Hurricanes legend. They should sell bathrobes in the team store. I don't know why they don't, unless you have prevented them from doing so.
No, I have not. Trust me, I have. They can sell all they want if anybody wants them.
Yeah, this is bathrobes with Hartford Whaler logos on them would sell like crazy. How hard is it as a player to not get ahead of everything and look towards win this game and get some rest? And how hard is it to just focus on a shift, shift in, shift out? Because everybody can look too far ahead.
Yeah. I'll just speak from my own experience. I was fortunate enough to go to the finals twice, in 2004 with Calgary, and then obviously with Carolina in 2006. And I wasn't when I was in Calgary, I didn't play the last three games in the final, so I had nothing to do with the result. But I got ahead of myself. Now, like I said, I wasn't playing anymore. I was done. But I got ahead of myself there when we were up 3-2 against Tampa, and I remember sitting. I'm like, this thing, we are good defensively. I'm like, I borderline almost started planning the parties, just not with the rest of the guys, but just in my own head. I'm like, man, I'm going to have a great summer. And we lose game 6 and 7, and that was it. It didn't work out for us. And moving forward, when I was in Carolina the next NHL year, I remember for me personally, I'm like, hey, I'm taking this thing game by game. I think it's important. It's a cliche, and I hate saying it, but you just look at these I'll just use, I'm out west, so I see a lot of the West. Winnipeg, St. Louis. Winnipeg's up 2-0.
Yeah.
Winnipeg fans are going banana. This is over. Blah blah blah. Sweep. Now it's 2-2. I think it's as a player, it's you got to keep it, and it's a cliche for sure. But hey, look, when you win a game, that's great. You should be excited. Good job. But it's not like let's start popping bottles here. And when you lose a game the same way, I don't care if you lose. Hey, it's the playoffs. If you lose by a goal, I know it feels different for sure, or if you get blown out by 10, at the end of the day, you lost one game. And I think it's just important to keep everything in perspective and try and keep everything even keel. And I think that'll help you a little bit. The bigger, especially when it comes to elimination games, guys can play like you can. There's a tendency some guys you play tentative. I don't want to use the word like scared.
Right.
That's a little too harsh. But tentative, and I think that's when you're not out there just playing, you're there for a reason, you're on the team for a reason, go out there and play. I think the results are going to work out more in your favor than not. Definitely more than if you're playing tentative. That's sure.
Right. That is right. Don't weather the storm, make it. Mike Commodore, Hurricanes legend, I appreciate your time at Commie 22. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me on, and go Canes.
You got it. Mike Commodore here. One of the absolute best. All right, when we come back, the hockey continues. EJ Hradek, NHL Network. We haven't spoken to him in like a week. Got to talk to him again. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The draft tells me one thing for Bryce Young and the Panthers. It's put up or shut up time for the quarterback. They needed edge rushers. They needed safeties, corners, linebackers. So what did they do with the 8th overall pick? They got the number 1 wide receiver on their board. That is a message to Bryce. You better perform this year or else.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's non-stop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instance for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people all the time, every single company that I endorse, it's about customer service. You guys are amazing. Even in a pink belt, you're amazing. What is the philosophy of Aluminum Company?
So for us, it's all about helping customers out, right? We go out to your house, you want to look at windows, and a lot of people don't want to do all of their windows at one time. So we're not there to pressure you to do what we want you to do. We just want to come out, have a conversation with you, look at your house overall. We can do an inspection of your house if you want us to look around and see what windows are the worst, or if you need some doors and windows. We put together a package that works for the customer. There's no pressure. We absolutely try to help with financing options and put together a package that works for our customers. And that's our philosophy, is just we're there to help. We're not there to pressure you.
And let me tell you this, from a personal standpoint, everything you just said was true because you did exactly that with me not that long ago. Patrick Day, Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 800-672-4348 or aluminumcompany.com.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health-friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But You know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is producing the program. Game 5 tonight, Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. I think we're probably where a lot of people thought we would be. I thought that this series would go deep, and to me, deep is 6 or 7 games. And Carolina controls that possibility tonight to an extent, I guess. The Devils will also have something to say about it. But if Carolina wins tonight, this series is over. I think certainly the odds makers say that that's going to happen. Carolina's like minus 270 or something, or 275. It's an insane. I have a 4-leg thing that we'll talk about later. Ottawa, Toronto. That series can end tonight in Toronto. Minnesota, Vegas is 2-2. Edmonton and LA is 2-2. Joining us now, first shift, NHL Network, my friend EJ Hradek at EJ Hradek_NHL on Twitter. Can we start with the nastiness of the playoffs, specifically in that Florida series, where apparently Aaron Ekblad is going to have a hearing with the league because of his hit on Brandon Hagel? How did something like that not get called?
Well, I guess the 4 guys on the ice didn't see it. I mean, I know the one official, the number 2, was kind of, everybody said, well, he's looking right at it.
He wasn't.
He wasn't. I mean, like, he was turning off the wall, and Marchand kind of comes between them. I mean, it's so easy when we're watching these things on super slow motion, right? We wonder, how did that get missed? And, I always try to remind people, I mean, these guys are on skates. They're out there with the greatest players in the world that are competing for something they've dreamed of their whole lives. So, I mean, this is really high-end competition. And these officials who, listen, these guys are the best at what they do, but it's a very, very difficult job. And, I mean, I know it's hard to believe, and like I said, we watch it on replay and we watch it over and over and over in slow motion. It seems simple, but they missed it. I thought the linesman had a good look from directly behind, but again, he couldn't see exactly. He was kind of blocked by Ekblad, exactly where that blow landed. Maybe the guy that was high, in the high part of the zone would have had a different look at it. But in the end, they didn't see it enough to really even confer with one another, and so there was no call on the play. In the end, they ended up getting a 5-minute major later in the game for a play by Mikkola. So,
and they didn't score on it.
And they didn't score. Their power play, I mean, if the Tampa Bay Lightning go on to lose the series, and right now they're certainly in a precarious position, down 3-1, I mean, their power play has done nothing for them in these playoffs, and give credit to the Florida Panthers penalty killers. But, that's where things have kind of swung a little bit here. I mean, to have a 5-minute power play and not to really even get many good chances in that 5 minutes kind of swung the momentum. But, the funny thing is, I mean, Aaron Ekblad doesn't get thrown out, which if the officials would have seen that cleanly, he likely would have. He ends up scoring a huge goal, not only once, but twice. Even though his first one was wiped out by an offside, which, by the way, I called from my television. Like, as soon as they came over the line, I was like, that looks offside.
Right.
And it ended up being offside. 2 guys, in fact, were offside. Right. So, at any rate, it's, you've watched it for a long time, Adam. Hockey, it's high intensity, and, these guys are battling, and it's, it's nothing really new. It's just that we see maybe less of it now. I thought it was kind of funny last night on ESPN that Mark Messier, of all people, was the voice of reason for violent play in hockey. Having watched Mark in his career, he may have taken a few liberties once or twice or 1,000 times during the playoffs and in regular season games as well. But, the world has changed, and so, we look at these things more closely.
But isn't that what the playoffs really are about? The playoffs are made for the Sam Bennett's of the world that sometimes blur the line between legal and illegal and go right up to it and maybe cross over it. It's almost expected, if not accepted, that this is going to happen. I believe that Timo Meier should have gotten a 2-minute minor, but there was nothing in it that was ever a 5-minute major. That would have been a miscarriage of justice too. Probably worse than getting no penalty for it. But like we just see that all the time. The playoffs are just, to me, a different game.
Yeah, I always say now, because people talk about the regular season and the playoffs, and I just say, first of all, it's a different challenge. In the regular season, you're playing 4, sometimes you're playing 3 games in 7 days or 6 days, whatever it is, 3 games in 4 days. And,
you're bouncing around, you're playing different opponents. Some, the quality of opponent changes all the time. And to be good in the regular season is, like I said, it's just a different challenge. And in the playoffs, you're seeing, if you win the Stanley Cup, you will have only played 4 different teams over the course of 4 best-of-7 series. So there's that head-to-head battle. I always talk about, the playoffs to me are injuries and matchups, right? Like how healthy are you and how do you match up against an opponent? And, the physical end of it that we're talking about here, I mean, like, Hagel hit, he had that nasty hit on Barkov. He got suspended. He comes back in, and yet the Florida Panthers still want to deliver a blow, when they can to Hagel. And to be honest with you, like if I was coaching or managing a team, sometimes you got to take penalties. Sometimes you got to send a message that, this is who we are. And, this is what we're going to do. And if we have to play without a player for a game, or if we have to kill a 5-minute major, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and the Lightning played a game without Brandon Hagel. I don't think it cost them in that game either, right?
They won. They won. Yeah.
Maybe they're better without Brandon Hagel. Obviously, I'm kidding.
Well,
I know.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean, though. Sometimes guys go out of the lineup, and I think it's a kind of a rallying cry sometimes within a group. These are very, very competitive games at teams that are generally very closely matched, and little things can make a difference. I mean, you saw that game last night with Dallas and Colorado. I mean, 9 seconds in, Colorado just blows the doors off Dallas in Game 4.
Right.
Like, it wasn't close. So much so that with a 3-0 lead after 2, Peter DeBoer takes his goalie out because he's like waving the white flag, going to rest the goalie in a 3-0 game. Right? That's how bad it was in Game 4. And then in Game 5, Dallas dumps the puck in. The puck hits the stick, goes up in the air. Nobody sees it except for Wyatt Johnston, who races down and then just fires a puck from behind the goal line that hits the goalie and goes in. So that's one goal. And then later in the period, a shot hits Blackwood, goes straight up in the air, comes down, hits him on his nameplate on the back of his jersey, and trickles into the net. So, I mean, these are the things that happen in this silly game that we love. And, the guys are competing hard, and they'll lace them up and drop the puck tonight in 4 cities, including yours, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I actually think the game didn't end, that Dallas-Colorado game, but I thought that opening goal 9 seconds in was a terrible sign for Colorado. It was a bad sign for Mackenzie Blackwood because that was a goal you can't allow, and it was a bad sign that Colorado got beat to that puck.
Yeah, well, then nobody saw it.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, you could see McKinnon goes back, and he's kind of looking around, and Wyatt Johnston somehow found it and got to it really. Give him credit. I mean, here's a guy that's a young man that in his brief career has played well in big games, and this year so far it was a struggle, but he ended up taking full advantage there. He scored a little bit later and just showing off the great skills that he has to be able to catch and receive a pass and then put it under the bar on a power play. So, I mean, those are – these games, there's ebbs and flows and there's swings of emotion. It's great competition. That's why we love it.
It is the best playoff sport there is. Real quick, St. Louis and Minnesota. More so St. Louis than Minnesota. That series, Minnesota had a 2-1 lead, lost game 4 in overtime at home. I think that series is definitely very even. I can't help but think that St. Louis is in a very good position, even going back to Winnipeg for Game 5. They put 12 past Connor Hellebuck in 2 games. 12. He doesn't look anything like the goaltender that is the odds-on favorite to win the Vezina.
Yeah, that's a great 2 games, but you go to the first 2 games. The bottom line is that the Winnipeg Jets have been good at home, and they found ways to win at home, and they're going to get Gabe Velarde back. So St. Louis has momentum, but can they carry it on the road where Winnipeg has been really good at home? So there was an extra day off in that series, and I always kind of like the extra day off for the team that loses.
Right.
So we'll see where it goes. But, yeah, I mean, it's unusual. I mean, this whole thing with Hellebuck is kind of crazy. The guy is going to win his 3rd Vezina this year. He had an unbelievable year, and yet, he just has not played well in the playoffs. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. They are what they are. And again, it goes back, I think, Adam, to what I said earlier. It's a different challenge in the playoffs. You know, the Blues have studied Hellebuck. They know his tendencies. You know, when you're bouncing from Chicago to San Jose to Dallas to here, like some nights you're playing really hard competition, and all the competition in the league. I mean, any night you could lose, but you're not playing the same team every night, and some teams are more dangerous than others. And it's like I said, it's a different challenge. The players, I think, play at a little different speed in the regular season. Who knows what it is? It's hard to explain because the guy has been an excellent goaltender in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's been a struggle. Obviously, I think when we look at this game coming up at home, this is one of those games that could define a guy long term. I mean, Winnipeg won the President's Trophy. They're supposed to be a good team, and if he plays well in that game, we talk about it less. If he plays poorly, we talk about it more.
No doubt about it. And it's why when you talk about playoff versus regular season, it actually makes me angry when I hear this game has a playoff feel and it's December. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. No. There's nothing. Yeah. The worst playoff game has more intensity than most regular season games. So I just always have disliked it. EJ, I appreciate your time always, sir. Hopefully the Hurricanes will push the Devils out of the playoffs tonight, so we won't have a Game 6, but we'll talk to you soon either way.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll be the case, and I just wanted, before I leave, just say I do agree with you. I thought that would have been a 2-minute minor on Meyer as well.
Yeah, nothing. I don't even blame Meyer. I got no problem with trying to rattle a goaltender. Zero problem with it. So I don't blame him, but I would have liked to have seen Carolina do a little bit in response, but that's really not how they're wired. So we'll see if they can just win the game. That's the best way to respond, is just to beat them, which they did on Sunday, and hopefully they'll do that tonight. I will talk to you soon. I appreciate your time.
You got it, my friend. Take care.
EJ Hradek, NHL Network, first shift on NHL Network. I think they start at 4 o'clock today. All right, when we come back, we'll do a little rewind, plus some sort of news out of Duke, which really isn't surprising if you think about it logically. And a quick interpretation of the Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick, not relationship, but the situation as I see it, because I don't care about their relationship. I want them to be happy. That's it. As long as it doesn't impact football, I'm good with it. We'll talk about that next.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes,
she scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Did you know? Along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country. Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers, forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining public power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages, help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare? Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Novant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We'll rewind on some NFL draft stuff with Will Brinson in just a few minutes. Canes Game 5 tonight. Carolina, one win away from advancing to the second round. Would be the fifth consecutive year that Carolina has done that. That in and of itself is super impressive, and they could do so through Douglas Jonathan Hamilton Jr., which I think all of us would particularly find enjoyable. At least I do. I apologize for being petty.
No, there's another fan who kept saying, "You stink, Dougie," last time we had a home game,
right.
So he would be a fan of that too.
Dougie was a good Hurricane. There's no doubt about it. He was a good player for Carolina. And Hamilton was a top-pair defenseman the year that Carolina made it to the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. Or in a decade, 10 years. 9-year drought, year 10. So, and he gets credit for what he did that year, and he gets credit for the next couple of years. He's been a good player. He was a good player for Carolina. What he wasn't was a good enough player when they needed him to be. And he is, I think, if you talk to Devils fans, they are not happy with the version of Dougie Hamilton that they're getting now. I think he is somebody that Carolina can take advantage of in the playoffs. I think for the most part they have. I think they will continue to try and do so. Frederick Anderson will not play tonight. Rod Brindamore said earlier this morning, we were there for the morning skate and immediate availability in the morning. Rod said, Freddie's not playing tonight. He's day-to-day. Look, he also alluded to the fact that they were probably leaning towards using Kochetkov anyway in Game 5, which, okay, at home. Now, I think it helps that Kochetkov got the series started for him in Game 4 on the road, coming in relief of Frederik Andersen. He played more than half the game, and he did a very good job. The goal was, as he said after the game, he said, "That's my goal." That was absolutely on you, Piotr. Self-awareness is a good idea, is a good thing. I think he'll be fine tonight. I think Carolina will win or lose, not based on the play of Kochetkov. I think Carolina will win the game in front of him, and that's really what their goal should be anyway. And the way they have played over these 7 years, when they're doing it the way they want to do it, that is the way it looks. I have famously said, and it has blown up in my face, by the way, that Carolina wins or loses not in spite of their goaltending, in spite of the choice. It doesn't matter to them. Carolina will win or lose games based on how they play in front of the goalie. They are not reliant upon the goalie. Now, in every playoff series, you are going to need your goalie to play well in order to win. Andersen, for 3 games, was amazing. He didn't see a lot of action in the first part of Game 4, right? Carolina had the lead. They dominated the first period. I think it was 8-4 in shots. He gave up a goal on 7 shots before leaving with the Meyer injury. Kochetkov played well. Other than the Meyer horrible goal, he played well, but he wasn't super tested. That's because of the way Carolina played in front of him. So I think Carolina will be fine. They play their game. I give them a very good chance of winning this game and winning the series, ending it, sending New Jersey off to summer camp. What happens next? Hey, look, Carolina could do with a little bit, be like 4 or 5 days off. My guess is that since Game 5 would have been Sunday, if all the series end early, then the NHL might start the second round of the playoffs Sunday. More than likely, it's early the following week. But we'll have, all 4 West series are 2-2. Actually, no, Dallas is now 3-2, right? Dallas, 2 games last night. Dallas is 3-2. The other 4 series are all 2-2. So today's Tuesday. We'll probably be done with some of them, maybe all of them, before the weekend is out. But it's probably early, either Sunday or early next week before we get to the second round. So even if Carolina and Washington are both sitting around, I don't think they're starting till Sunday at the earliest. So it'll be a few days before Carolina needs to make a decision on Andersen or Kochetkov. But the Hurricanes are about as healthy as they're going to be. And they have all 14 forwards were on the ice this morning. All 8 of their defensemen were on the ice this morning. That includes Riley Stillman and Alexander Nikishin. They practiced along with Jack Roslovic and Tyson Jost after the skate. So those guys are not drawing in, obviously. I know Rod has said he wanted to get Tyson Jost in, but he is definitely, the 14th forward. But over the course of a playoff, especially a long playoff run, you'll probably need everybody at some point. The Lightning will not have Brandon Hagel tonight. He was not suspended. He was, and this, I think Aaron Ekblad likely will be, because it did look like there was, at the very least, a forearm thrown to the chin of Hagel. But Hagel is out for Game 5, which will be tomorrow in Tampa. And that's a big piece. That's somebody who was good enough to make the Four Nations roster for Canada. 30-goal scorer, elite two-way player. That's a big loss for Tampa, which is having trouble scoring. Hagel's part of that. But this is also the nature of playoff hockey. Carolina will have to play a very, very physical game. Real quick about Bill Belichick before we get to a rewind with Will Brinson and talk a little NFL draft stuff. Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, and I guess that's the only way to refer to them, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend.
I suppose.
I mean, I really
business partners.
Like, well,
that's kind of what
I guess there's an element of that,
mm-hmm.
right? And again, in no way am I using any terms here in a derogatory way. I have no problem with their relationship. I think a lot of people who have a problem with it are, put off by the fact that she's basically 1/3 of his age. I don't care. I don't. So I think a lot of there is some of that. They see whether it's the age factor or not, the fact that she is in many ways bossing him. Oh no, we're not doing that. We're not talking about this. Shutting down the Hard Knocks UNC edition because she didn't like some of the things that they wanted to do, controlling the interview that Bill did with CBS this morning. And I understand that is unsettling for reasons that may not have to go beyond the fact that, hey, we thought Bill was the man who makes all the decisions and the hard decisions. Like, how is it possible that Bill is being dictated to? Whether or not it's being dictated to by Jordan Hudson or just being dictated to by anybody. We thought Bill made the decisions. So I think there's an element of that. But having read something that Jordan Hudson posted on Instagram about an email, she posted an email that Bill sent to a larger group with which explains their positioning and their plan with promoting the book that Bill has written. And to me, reading the email, which is available, heck, it's all over social media now. You can find it. If you read it, here's what jumped out to me. This whole thing, including the CBS This Morning interview that she was so prominently involved in, this whole thing is just to sell the book rather than just do what everybody else does when they sell a book, which is go on a little bit of a book tour, make yourself available for interviews, which he did with CBS This Morning, which maybe Bill would do here. I don't know. I'm not demanding that he does it. But this whole thing seems like a grift to me. That they have intentionally set the bait for the media to highlight negative things, including, he said, the whole point with admitting a mistake in the book and to saying, quote, I effed up, end quote, was to get the media talking about the negatives and then complaining that they ignore the positives. This shouldn't be your first rodeo, Bill. That's what that element of media does. They highlight the negatives. It's just the way this world is wired now. So, Bill admits a mistake. Whatever. He shouldn't have I don't even know what the mistakes are. Zero chance I'll read the book. None. I don't even know the title of it.
Nah.
No, I don't. I don't know the title of it.
The Creative Muse.
Right. Is that the title of the book? That would be great.
No, I was just joking.
Lovely. So it sounds very Shakespearean.
Right.
So, but it does seem to me like Bill has set, maybe not Bill, Jordan has set the trap to create a more animosity in the relationship between the football program, her, and them. Because they believe is what's going to drive sales. It's all about the book. That's it. All right, time to rewind. All right, they're still litigating it on ESPN. I asked Will, what he made of Shedeur Sanders to the Browns in round 5.
After dad, who's not afraid to go public, a guy who didn't perform well in interviews. I think there's a lot to unpack. I think anybody who is on the conspiracy theory train, and I don't think you're there, but if you are, my apologies. Okay, good. I was going to say my apologies in advance because you're an idiot if you're on the conspiracy theory train. This is not some massive conspiracy to take down Shedeur Sanders. I think without being in the room, but with connecting the dots and hearing enough from how he acted in these interviews and whatnot, I think essentially Shedeur Sanders, you hit on it. He went in and handled this process like he was his father. Well, his father was a sure thing. His father was not falling far in the draft. His father's probably the greatest cornerback of all time. It's like 75% of the world is covered by water and the other 25% is covered by Dion. I mean, that's the old saying. I mean, it's like Dion was guaranteed to be a high pick. He was a sure thing. Shedeur was not. And when you factor that in with the sort of the economics of the quarterback position in particular this year, you had a few teams, whether it was the Raiders, the Giants, the Browns, the Steelers. There weren't that many teams who needed to get a young quarterback early in the draft. There were a lot of teams that certainly were not going to take a chance on somebody like Shedeur Sanders, even later in the draft. Like, look at the Panthers, for example. You want Bryce Young to be the franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. You want Bryce Young to develop. You don't want Bryce Young to deal with Shedeur Sanders behind him because that's a circus that you bring in.
Right.
I think he turned a lot of teams off with what he said and did in the interviews. What he didn't do. There was a report that Brian Dable of the Giants asked him to handle the install of the offense, and he was like, "What? Why would I? What? I mean, that's just not going to fly with NFL teams." I know there's a report that some owners came in and said, "Take this guy off our boards," and so I think all of those factors really combine to force him down draft boards. And I've said this for years, but once you get past the second day in the third round, I mean, being the first pick of the fourth round and the last pick of the seventh round is pretty fungible. I mean, it's not totally apples to apples, but that is a really general area to land. And so I think it's just a guy who wasn't as good as the hype around him, a guy with a major league helicopter dad who's not afraid to go public, a guy who didn't perform well in interviews, and the economics of the quarterback position. Pretty simple.
I mean, when you think about it, and this goes back to what Mike Felder said to us on Friday. If the NFL does not like it when they feel like you don't need them, and because Shedeur Sanders is wealthy, there isn't the need for him to do what the NFL wants him to do. Especially if you believe that you are great. It is clear that by and large, the National Football League did not view Shedeur Sanders as the Sanders family viewed Shedeur Sanders. And if I don't think you're that good, I don't think you're a can't miss, I got to have you in the first round type of a quarterback, or even in the second round early, if you're that, well, then you're obviously not worth whatever the circus is around you, so I'm going to stay away from that. I am curious as to why the Browns selected Dylan Gabriel in the third round, quarterback from Oregon, who had a great year, and also Shedeur Sanders. I'm genuinely confused about it. I'm also confused, and by the way, if you go to the podcast, the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, you can see more of that interview with Will, and we talk about passing up Travis Hunter if you're the Browns. Real quick, we're not going to play this here. I don't understand the trade. I don't understand if you're the Browns. We need assets. He was a 2-for-1 asset. How do you give up somebody who was a first-round pick as a cornerback and as a wide receiver? I don't understand that. Mason Graham is not going to play defensive tackle and tight end. You gave up a player who might have solved two positions for you. I'm baffled. He doesn't have to play every snap at wide receiver. He can play 25 snaps a game at wide receiver. But you could use him in both spots. I don't understand it. For the life of me. I don't get it. But that's that. All right. Back to hockey tonight. All right, we'll wrap it up right here. Carolina will start Pyotr Kochetkov tonight. Frederik Andersen is not ready to go, so it'll be Kochetkov. The Devils, Sheldon Keefe, the head coach, said that us already without Luke Hughes, Brendan Dillon, and Jonathan Kovacevic, three of their top, when completely healthy, three of their top six defensemen. They may also be without Brett Pesce and Jonas Siegenthaler, who did not skate this morning. Look, Siegenthaler came back early from injury, so it's possible that he will be out. And I know Pesce has not done any skating outside of playing, so he's clearly dealing with something. But he is the only reason this series isn't over. So I will be surprised if Pesce does not play tonight. I would say there is no chance that he won't play tonight. He'll play tonight. But if you're Carolina, the formula tonight is easy. Get the puck in behind New Jersey's defense and crash. Wave after wave after wave. That's their game, and that's what will work against these Devils. Make it simple. Dougie Hamilton does not want to feel the game. Make him feel it early. Brian Dumoulin, too much is being asked of Brian Dumoulin playing on a top pair with Pesce. Way too much is being asked of him. To me, this game becomes a very simple process. Carolina starts fast, gets the first goal, chokes the life out of the Devils, and we see round two for the fifth straight year. That's what I think should happen tonight. Now they just have to go about the business of doing it, which is a lot less easier than I have just made it out to sound. Victoria, do you have any qualms about tonight at all?
No, I just want them to get it done so we can have some time off. And plus, who doesn't want them
we have to do the show anyway.
I know, but I mean, who doesn't want to see our Canes win at home? So,
right,
you got to go for that.
Much like Liverpool. Did I mention Liverpool won the Premier League? I don't know if I mentioned that. Victoria, thank you. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.